Welcome to the Craig and Greg Show, presented by Maximize Leadership. Here are Craig Owens and Greg Heeres.
Hey, welcome to the Craig and Greg Show. We're so glad to have you back. I'm Craig, alongside Greg, as usual. If you have watched some of our podcasts, you know that a lot of times we reference books that we are reading or we have read. Both of us love to read. I think both of us would live by that maxim that leaders are readers. Mm-hmm. But something that many of you may not know is that Greg is not only a reader, that he's a writer as well. And he's written several books, and we want to introduce you to one of those books today that is called The Shawn Effect, S-H-A-W-N. It's named after somebody that you met. Mm-hmm. And why don't you give a little background about who Shawn is and what kind of captured your attention about him so much that you wanted to write a book?
Yeah. I think that's the one thing we need to pay attention as leaders is pay attention to other leaders. Mm-hmm. Like, what are they doing? What do they stand for? Is that something we would like to aspire to be? So Shawn was basically the janitor of my son's middle school and high school. And we just hit it off. And so for 7 years, 6th through 12th grade, we would see each other on campus. He just had that lovable face, high knucks, high five, hug once in a while, laughter, tease. And so I'm like, who is this guy, And he's got his uniform on at school, and you thought he was the principal. And I thought, wow, but he's serving. Yes. That was the first thing that caught me was he just served. He was willing to do whatever he needed at the school. And so I did he lives with his parents. He has a disability. He had oxygen deprivation in the womb, but he's fully capable of doing so many things. And I think what I noticed was he does something so exceptional, even if someone would consider he has a disability.
Yes. Well, I like your observations of Shawn and how you turned each one into a leadership lesson. So we've got 7 lessons in this book. But one of the ones because I got a chance to meet Shawn a couple of times, and I remember hanging out with him once at a football game. You were working the game. Austin was down on the field playing the game, and Shawn was sitting next to me, giving me color commentary of everything that was happening on the field, which I really loved. But one of the things that stood out to me was just that time that I spent with him, that everybody was his friend. What did you see about that? How did he interact with other people, from students all the way through to adults?
So, I think one of the chapters I wrote, is really who Shawn is. It personifies. I just had to put some words to it. Everyone's a friend until later. Until something goes. They graduate, they change careers, they move on, whatever happens. But everyone's a friend until. And he had that face that people just love. Yeah. Most referees and umpires who officiated a game at my son's high school, they knew Shawn. They may not know the other coach, or that referee might not know the coach, but, Shawn, he's the guy that treats. So he would open the locker room for the umpires or the referees. He'd get them water or a pizza or a hot dog. He made them feel welcome. Yes. And he's what? He's just a person at the school who has a job, but he took it upon himself to give them a great experience, and they were all his friends.
That's great. And let me insert something right here. We're not going to be able to cover all the chapters of this book, but we do want to make this book available for you. And so Greg has graciously made the ebook version of The Shawn Effect free for our podcast viewers. So if you go to maximizeleadership.com, there is a form down right at the bottom of the first page, a contact form. If you put your name and your email address in there, we can email you the ebook version. But we also have another special offer that we'd like to give to you as well. If you would write down in the comments section on that form something that intrigued you about maybe our interview today, something that you heard that kind of piqued your interest, if you just write that down in there, something like, I'd like to read The Shawn Effect because of this thing, we are going to draw some winners out, and Greg has some hard copies of the book that he is going to autograph. And if you are the winner, that we'll reach out to you and get your mailing address, and we'll send you the autographed version of that book. So go to maximizeleadership.com and sign up there and follow along this amazing adventure of Shawn. Tell us a little bit about Shawn. We've talked about before that nobody's a self-made person. Shawn's parents were very key in making Shawn the young man that he was, and you got to know them a little bit. What did you observe about his parents?
Well, just a little chapter of how the book started. I thought, this guy is just teaching me a ton, and I'm thinking, isn't that cool? Sometimes God just delivers lessons through the most unique package, and Shawn was a unique person for me, and for many, 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 many others. Before I wrote the book, though, I thought I better get approval. So I went to his mom, who were good friends, and I says, hey, I'm kind of thinking about writing a book about Shawn. She cried. And I'm like, oh, gosh, that's not that I cried. And it was just as, she's like, why would you do that? I says, because he's taught me so much. Yes. And so she was just honored. And I mean, anything I can help with, stories, backstories, pictures, growing up. So in the book, there's pictures of him when he was little, learning to ride a bike, or his first soccer game. But it was very emotional. I didn't plan on that. So it caught us both. That probably made the project even more passionate. Sure. It's like, this is such a deserved young man. And so I got the book done for his 40th birthday. Oh, and then we had our own party. It was fabulous. But, I think one of the things that you spoke of, like readers, one of the chapters is about being informed, and I'll share a lot about Shawn. But he gets up at 4 a.m. to listen to the news, read the news, watch the news, often sports, or what's happening in our country, or maybe in our community, or school news. And I would just text him, hey, what's happening? Well, how much do you want to know? Because he's been up for hours, Yeah. And it was just a thrill. He would wow you with, hey, did you know the Tigers, blah, 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 or, General Motors is going to move their plane. It's like, how do you retain all this? It was just gifted.
You know what? I loved his multitasking. Oh. He's sitting next to me doing the color commentary on the football game that he's watching. Somebody had a radio on where the Tigers game was playing, and you could hear it kind of off in the distance.
Yeah.
And he's given me all the statistics of all of the starting players for the Tigers. What position they're playing, what they're batting. And I kept looking at him like, how do you retain all this
And
stuff?
he does it so just eloquent, like,
yes.
Verlander is going to blah, 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 or Leland, the manager, whatever the time of season was, the manager's blah, 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 and you're like, wow. And so it is a lesson for us. He's relevant. Mm-hmm. And as leaders, for us to stay relevant is critical. One of the other things that I really loved is he opened the door for people.
Literally open the door.
Yeah.
Like chivalry.
And I thought, that's lost.
Yes.
Maybe more today than ever, just because we do our own thing, right? Our phone is our news. And so he just had gentleman skills. And it was great to watch him with boys, young boys. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. You can't go in yet, just the girls. And then the girls will go in, whatever it was. It could be cafeteria. I wasn't at school all that much, but watching him, open the gate at the football game. He didn't go first. He just served like Jesus, washed feet. If Shawn was asked, or if he had a chance, he'd have a bucket with water and he'd wash the students' feet. That's what he had done. Yeah. Just amazing.
Yeah. And I love the quiet influence that he has on people. He didn't have the platform that you sometimes think of. I think a lot of times when people think of leaders, they think of somebody that's got like a big following, or they've got a title, or they got a corner office or something. Yeah. And Shawn has none of those things. No. And yet he is around those students, and he's influencing their lives just by doing the right things.
His sense of humor too. He's like, someone will come into school, got a joke for you. And the kid has to stop because he knows Shawn's going to deliver just this amazing, funny story or punchline. And Shawn can barely get to the end of it. He just can't wait. He almost skips over the story a little bit, like, because he knows the punchline's the best. Right. But you got to set it up. And he's just, he was almost like that kid that has to use the bathroom. I want to get to the punchline. And then you laugh. And his laugh was so hearty. Even in the hallway, people would be like, oh, Shawn just had a story. I mean, talking to someone else. There's some fun, I think for him it was like, I love this quote, laughter is instant vacation.
Sure.
And Shawn just had instant vacations. When we as adults get older, we tend to laugh a little less.
Yeah.
Shawn's making up for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy just enjoyed good humor and knock, knock, who's there? I'll tell you later, and takes off. Like, that isn't even a joke, Shawn, but that was what he used to do.
That's pretty good.
And just life and leadership, I'm thinking so many people are intense and, maybe a little gruff or they miss things. One of the things I honor about your leadership journey is you take time to take things in. A bike ride, a hike with your wife, whatever, and you take in what's around you. And some of us are a little faster, and Shawn taught me go slow.
Slow down.
Take it all in.
Well, there's a quote that from your book that I really like. Love is a large 4-letter word, yet it carries with it many definitions. The world has really messed up the word love and what it means. Shawn has it right. He trusts and believes in others. He has hope for them. His faith is strong in them, and he lives out every day as if it may be his best and last. I can't think of a better definition for a leader.
And his appetite for people. Oh, you have a nice car. You don't have a nice car. Oh, you have nice clothes. You don't have nice clothes. It was equal.
Yep.
In fact, I think he knew who to spend more time with, like invest. And that's a challenge for us as leaders. Yep. Does your best salesperson really need all your time? I mean, maybe they don't even need half the time, but others need a little more. And Shawn was just really astute with that. He was very aware. And his mom happened to pass away last year during COVID. And he goes, "Are you coming?" And I really didn't put anything together, like coming, because I was thinking we wouldn't have a funeral, or a visitation. Right. So I said, "To your mom's visitation? Yeah, you have to come." "I'll be there, buddy." Heck of high water, I was there. And it was beautiful. It was a sad story. She battled cancer. But Shawn was, "I'm okay." I said, "Shawn, I'm going to check with you. I'll be okay." "I know, because your mother and dad invested in you." And what a great story about leaders.
Yes.
So his parents led. They got him into events, got him into sports, got him into music, and didn't let a disability hold him back. And you can tell. Nothing holds him back. And he doesn't believe you should have a hold back.
Yes.
And as leaders, that's very inspirational.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we want you to get this book. I'm telling you, it's a short book. You can probably sit down and read it in just a few minutes. But the lessons that you're going to unpack and the way that you're going to see the world through Shawn's eyes, Greg did a great job capturing that in this book. So that's why we've made the ebook free for you, because leaders, you need to be readers of not only books, but this book's going to help you to be readers of other people too and see the life lessons there. So go to maximizeleadership.com, fill out the form at the bottom. You can also tweet at us at Maximize Podcast. And if you would like to be in the drawing for the autographed copy of the hard copy of the book, then tell us why you want to read this book or something that stood out to you about our discussion today about Shawn, and we'll put you in the drawing for that. But leaders, be readers. You got to read, you got to learn, you got to apply it, you got to read other people's lives, read other people's books. A great book is The Shawn Effect by Greg Heeres that you should pick up.
It's been a privilege. I think the fun part, finishing the project and then setting up the birthday, and they really didn't know what to expect. And I just went over to their condo, had some ice cream. Shawn thought it was cute. I came over and says, "I got something for you. You might recognize it. Might recognize something that's in this thing." So he looks at it, and his first expression, his mom just bawled. "This is me. That book's about me."
Yeah.
He just couldn't believe that. And then when he read it, he was like, "Oh, I do that." It was just adorable. "Oh, how'd you remember that?" And it was just a fulfilling compliment back to an existing leader who was alive to get the praise versus when they pass away, you say nice things. Yep. That was my goal. Yep. And hopefully it blesses you all who read it. So
yeah, you did a great job with the book.
Oh, thanks.
Kudos.
Thanks.
5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever rating you're giving it. Folks, thanks for being with us today. Follow us on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube. Click the bell so you're notified when the next episodes come out. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Get in touch with Craig and Greg through Twitter at Maximize Podcast or at MaximizeLeadership.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes of The Craig and Greg Show.